another week another weekend of sales. Last week was well, it's not necessarily last week. The weekend in specific, best weekend I've ever had. Probably, I want to say definitely this year, and I want to say probably ever. There are over 30 sales this weekend. I didn't quite pay attention to a price total. It was about $340. And that was fairly evenly split between the two accounts. In terms of the weekend as well. Of that 30 orders, they were fairly split between the two accounts. So we'll get into that. So that started, I want to say, about here. Yeah, right here. For this Bart Township. Over minus the last about 4 tabs. That was all from the weekend. Yeah, minus these last 4. But also something I want to show you is I have just over, even with all that, I have just over $10,000 listed with 1,300 plus active listings. And I have an offer to send out right at the moment. Okay, so it's 3M. That's not that long ago. Pretty much for me with offers is I look at the SKU, and for the most part I can remember when I got it. So like this is 3M. It's from not that long ago, so I'll just send out a 10% offer on it. So that's pretty much how I can do it. And I can remember the SKU and about how long I've had it, and then I'll either do 10, 15, or 20% off, depends how long I've had it. So fairly new stuff gets 10%. So, but anyways, yeah, $10,000 listed, and that's just this account. That's not including the other one. So we're gonna start off. Brindle Ridge Volunteer Fire hat. It's a small little hat patch. $6.99 on that one. The Cirrus Volunteer Fire Department. I had 2 of them. The same buyer bought them both at $5.99 a piece. These next 4 all sold together. The same guy downstate who is a New York State collector and has bought from me tons of times. So this Russell, New York, this Stanford, New York, this Bemis Point, and then this Glen Falls. He bought them all, and then he sent me, also had a note in his or in the note to seller. He tried to do combined shipping and it wouldn't let him, so he just paid. And I do have it turned on now. I don't know if it doesn't compute with older listings. I don't quite know. I don't see why it wouldn't. Why it wouldn't work. I don't get it, but so I ended up, for him, I gave him free ship because I did end up having to send this out first class. It was the order total was high enough, so I ended up sending it out first class, and for him I just gave him free ship. Next is Mid Fairfield County, Connecticut hazmats. This, I believe, sold out on an offer for $8.99. There's only 3 things that sold out on an offer too. This was all natural sales too. Although I did have some auctions ending on both accounts, so that does that does account for a little bit of the sales as well. Next is this Deep Search Metal Detection Club member, which is in New Jersey, and it sold within hours for $14.99 plus $4 ship. And this is actually a second one. I had one before that I had listed for like $6.99, and it also sold pretty quick as well. And when I kind of was redoing research with this one, when I discovered it again, because it's been floating around here, it's one of the things that's just been floating around. I seen that they do go for, about 15, 20-ish bucks plus ship. And I think there's like only none listed, 2 or 3 sold, so it's very desirable. So I finally got around to listing it, and it sold right away. Next is Corgi American LaFrance Chicago Fire Engine 20, a little like model, I guess you could call it. And like I said, it's in pretty good shape. Although like I said, in the description, the deck gun seems fairly loose. I don't think it should be as loose as it is. But other than that, as you can see kind of in the photos, great shape. I mean, if I was a Chicago collector, I definitely would have kept this for myself. But I picked this up for, or I seen it, the auction for it somehow. It probably was listed under patches, and I seen the auction for it. It was listed for $1 plus, I think, like 12 shipping, and no one else bid on it. I won it. I figured, I could probably make some money on it. I forget. I had the little piece of paper that I had it written down on. I bought it in September, and I didn't list it for a while. As you can see, I didn't even end up listing it till January. And I've had a lot of interest on this. I've sent out a lot of offers. It's had a lot of views in the last 30 days. There's definitely a lot of attention on it. It's just it finally took a while for someone to actually pull the trigger and buy it. So I sold it for $14.99 plus 7 ship. Because I could do it first class, and I'm pretty sure when I bought it, it was sent priority mail. It's light enough, and even with all the packing, I can still send it. Was still light enough to go first class. So all in after fees, shipping, and what I originally paid for it, I made like $3. So not great. It was something I didn't even really look up. I just bought it and figured I could make $1 or $2 on it. So, not the greatest purchase, but someone will get to enjoy it now. Next is Butte County Sheriff's Office, $7.99. Painted Post Fire Department, $5.99. Bend, Oregon Police, $4.99. San Francisco Hat Patch. This sold out on offer, $4.24. One of the few things to sell out on offer. And now we're getting into the weekend sales. And weekend sales is pretty much anything after about Friday, about noonish, which is when I did some orders. And I think there was like 1 or 2 things, but that was more on the other account that had came in Thursday, but I didn't have time to send them out Friday, so they just got lumped into the weekend because I ended up being fairly busy this weekend. So, but starting off with this, Bart Township, Pennsylvania, Station 51, $7.99. North Warren Volunteer Fire Rescue Company 10, $8.99 on that one. Smithfield, North Carolina Emergency Services, $6.99. These 2 generic blank fire department ones, $4.99 on that. There's North Pole Fire Department, Alaska, $3.99. It's nothing special. FD&Y Paramedic, $6.99. Washington D.C. Police, $5.99. CHP in very rough shape for $3.99. As you can see, it's September 13th, 2022. It took quite a while to sell because it's in such horrible shape, and I want the same price as a new one is. So I'm surprised this ever actually ended up selling. Next is the Sony WF-C500 wireless in-ear Bluetooth earbuds, black. I copied the title from a different listing, so I surely hope that is actually true. The title for this was correct. So sold those for $40 plus 5 ship, and they sold within a couple hours, and it's actually going to Puerto Rico. So this and 2 or 3 other things you'll see here came from a pallet auction a pallet buy that I made. It's kind of like a separate little. I'll probably make a separate little video on it. It's still working. I'm still working through that through the pallet. But I'll refer to it as a pallet, even though it's technically not a pallet. You'll see in the other video whenever I get to finishing dealing with this stuff. The place that I bought it from actually calls them coffins. And they do look like coffins. They're, a box that looks like a coffin. I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 feet wide by like 8 feet times, and probably like 4 foot tall, maybe. I don't know. That's a good enough estimate. That is filled with general merchandise, from Amazon, except for it, and it's saran wrapped over, so you can't dig through it or anything. You kind of just have to go. It's a borderline mystery box, especially like in the previews and some of the photos they showed of when they had them in. there's only like 2 or 3 things in each one that you can actually even look at and read it enough to be able to even look it up to see kind of if it was worth buying. So I ended up picking up 2 of them for $250 a piece plus tax. So all in, it was $543.75. So quite an investment for me, anyways. I'm now kind of at the point where I can make these slightly larger investments in something. I can make, the $400 or $500 purchases. I do enough sales-wise that I can make those kind of purchases and not, have to put any of my personal money in. All the patches and that can kind of just the money can keep being recycled, all on its own. So, that's, like I said, I'll end up going maybe more in depth in that other video. I'm not gonna keep dwelling on it too much, but this was one of the few things that I did get listed the first day. So pretty much that's why I was super busy this weekend. The buying opens at 10 a.m. on Saturday, and if you want to, and you can start showing up at like 9. Technically, you can show up earlier as well. And so you show up, you get your place in line. We were my brother took me because he's bought from this place before. That's where he buys outdoor power equipment. Then he flips himself. So I seen these coffin boxes, which is something that I would, with the general merchandise, which is something I would actually be interested in doing. Not so much the power equipment and some of the other stuff that they get in. So that piqued my interest. We went there, bought them. Like I said, I bought 2 of them. Went through. That's what I did all day Saturday. Pretty much was going through the 2 coffins, pulling out, pretty much going through everything, looking it up, making the draft for it, and then putting it in a pile. So I still have to photograph pretty much everything. There was only a couple things, these, small things that I got done on Saturday and listed. Otherwise, everything else is still sitting, and it all needs to be photographed still, and I need to figure out how I'm going to ship it and all that. But long story short, on that, I might be lucky to break even. I don't think it was a very good investment, that's for sure. Between the amount of time it took, and then the actual money that I'll make back, because a lot of it is what they kind of don't tell you, and what I should have known from my brother is that a lot of it is like returns. It's Amazon returns. It's not brand new stuff. It's not overstock or shelf pulls or anything like that. It's returns, which I don't want to do returns because I know returns are a pain in the ass because a lot of times things will either be missing or there's something actually wrong with it and it's just junk. So returns is something I didn't want to do, yet I got stuck doing it anyways. I'm trying to kind of make this the highlights here and not keep going on and on and on about the coffins. Like I said, I played with them for 10 hours between when the drive time there, loading it, coming back here, and playing with them. I probably put 10 hours into it on Saturday, and that was only half of it. So not the greatest investment. So got it. Something I wanted to try out, and I've tried it out, and I'm not impressed with it, and probably will not do it again, unless I know it's new thing. Unless I know it's new stuff, not returns. Although there was plenty of options there that week. Like if I had the space, there was huge pallets they had of shoes that a lot of them looked like they were new. Those didn't look too much. Those didn't really look like they were returns, but there was a lot of shoes. And that's something I think I would have had more enjoyment in doing compared to this general merchandise. I would have been more entertained dealing with the shoes, but those were they were huge pallets, and I don't have the space really for those, so that I think will conclude my rant about the doing the pallets. But you will see, so far I have sold enough to pay for my tax. The taxes have been covered. So $500 to go still. Alright, that's enough about the damn pallets. Alright, Warwick, Rhode Island Fire, $5.99. Marietta Fire Protection District, $7.99. Registered EMT, ambulance, $5.99. New York State EMT, $5.99. Naval Service Surface Weapons Center in Montgomery County. This sold just out of an auction, just one bid, $9.99. A lot of the auctions that I did, only 2 of them had, like, ahead of time had bids, and then there was a couple things that at the last minute they a bid got put in and they were sold. Next, this has not been paid for yet. This Pigeon Forge Fire in Tennessee for $9.99. It's a repeat buyer, so in theory they should pay. I sent out a reminder last night. I'll probably send out another one tomorrow as well. Next is Baltimore County breathing apparatus service technician. Sold that only. It's got 2 bids, but it was the same person for $9.99. I was hoping that would go for more. It's definitely a cool patch. Here's one of the other things from the palette. This Miley Cyrus Endless Summer Vacation CD, which is her new album. And I realized I have a capital I in there. Whatever. I was so over dealing with that crap. So I sold it for $9.99 free ship. Went media mail. Sent that out today. And this is something I was thinking about. I didn't actually test this CD to make sure it actually worked. And I forgot to disclose that as well, that it was untested. But if it doesn't work for $10, hopefully I get an understanding buyer about it. But it also had like this defect in the case too, but you couldn't actually feel it. It was odd. It was just a defective look in the case. Next, I sold these 3M dynamic mixing nozzles again. Sold them for $40, same as last time, $40 free ship. Shipping is on me. I mean, the last one I lost, it was like $9 or $10 on the shipping for that. And then again, this cost me about another $8 to ship it out again, fees and all that. If there's any problems with it this time, I'm just, throwing them out. The money's dried up out of this. So I think in reality, I've only made like $10 on this because I had to refund it last time, and I had to eat the cost of it. So, but this time I did add in the photos of what the actual things looked like. And I looked at other photos. That is what they're supposed to look like. So I don't understand what the other buyer's problem was. Drives me out of my mind. Next is Lexington, Missouri Fire Rescue. Sold for $6.99 and it had glue on the back. The lot it came out of, they pretty much all were like that. I sold these Lockline assembly pliers, 3/4 Lockline modular hose system, number 78004. These sold out on offer, $14.39 just sold. These will go first class. I made, I think, $7 on these. Last thing that sold is this Keystone Fire Department South Dakota for $5.99. Alright, so that's it for the sales on this account. Next, I'll show you real quick. With my quarterly eBay discount, I picked up these 6x9 pretty much padded bubble mailers. I'm pretty much just about out of the ones that I found, so I decided to pick up some more of the 6x9s, which is what I mostly use. I picked up this little lot of fire patches. It was here local. It came from South Buffalo. I picked it up specifically for this Gratwick Engine 6 in North Tonawanda. That's a pretty rare one, I would say. And then these 2 little Niagara County, like tab style ones, whatever. I'll sell off the rest of these and make my money back. And then I picked up this huge lot of 500 mixed police patches. They were super cheap, $400 plus $10 shipping. And there's a lot of Niagara County sheriffs in here, which I already have myself. But as you can see, there's a ton of them in here. There's a ton of St. Paul's, which I already have a stack of from the last one. The Macon, Georgia, I already have a bunch of those. The Webster, I'm pretty sure I have a ton of those. Essex County, I'm pretty sure there's only 2 of them in there. And the other ones, I see in the background right there, Miami. Miami police ones, I already have a ton of those. So a lot of them, it's not really that big of a deal. I could always add on to the other huge multi-quantity listing or try and sell them off in like large lots again myself. Alright, so that's all for that account. Let's move on to the other one, which is also loaded. So we'll try and speed run through this one. Pleasantville, New York Police, $6.99. Oh, great, they have to reload. Yorktown, $7.99. Wonderful, we're going to be here all damn day. Rochester's first in New York one, $6.99. This Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation. As you can see, I got a ton of them. Sold it for $7.99. Massachusetts Department of Corrections, $7.99. Midland County, Texas Midland County Sheriff's in Texas, $3.99. Fort Lee, New Jersey, $4.99. Hat Patch sold right away as well. New York State Genesee Park Police, $7.99. Hempstead, $6.99. Washington D.C. Cadet, which is a little hat patch. I've never seen a cadet one. Sold that for $6.99. And good old NYPD, $6.99. Those always sell for $6.99 easy all day long. Erie Insurance Security sold for $5.99, and this is going to Erie, Pennsylvania. Sold like right away too. These next two sold together. This Florida State University Police Student Auxiliary Patrol for $6.99, and then this Metropolitan Police, just generic, for $4.99. Ramsey County Sheriff in Minnesota, $7.99. Norwegian Cruise Lines Vessel Security sold for $15.99 plus $4 ship, within hours. And this is actually from a lot when I was cleaning up my room in preparation for going to the pallet place. I found this envelope of patches that I had bought that I completely forgot about. Absolutely, totally forgot about. I was trying to go back through and look in my purchase history. I didn't see it. I'm sure if I actually looked harder, I would find it. But it actually had some gems in there, like that Erie Security. That's where that came from. There's Norwegian Cruise Lines Vessel Security. There's this shoulder patch one, and then there's like a smaller badge style one. Both of those go for $15 plus ship. A great sell through rate. They pretty much are hard to come by. So that was a great find. And then here is kind of where we start getting into the weekend sales. This Bridgewater, Massachusetts K9, $7.99. Curry County Detention Center in New Mexico. It's got the Velcro back on it for $10. Here are some of the auctions I had. A lot of them were animal control ones. So this Winnebago County Animal Control started at $6.99, went up to $8.50 with 4 bids. Woohoo! Anoka County, Minnesota Central Communications for $6.99. LA County Sheriff, $6.99. Baltimore City Police for $6.99. You don't usually see the city. It's usually just Baltimore Police. Not that it means anything. Didn't make it worth anymore. This Lafayette, Indiana SWAT. This was a great one. As you can see, started at $6.99, went up to $27. That was a good one. Steubenville, Ohio Animal Control, $7.99. Lane County, Oregon Animal Control, $5.99. And some of the auction ones, just like the other one, they got bids right at the end. I didn't even know they were going to sell. Next, National Police Bloodhound Association, 35-year anniversary, $7.99 on that one. Pembina Nation Federal Tribe Marshal, $7.99. I've had this before. This I think came out of the Forgotten lot. This Passaic County Sheriff SERT team for $9.99. These next 4 are sold all together to the same person. Gainesville, Florida, Palm Beach County K9. These another Palm Beach County K9, 2 different styles. Those each sold for $6.99. Same with the Gainesville. And then the Shawnee County, Kansas K9 for $6.99 as well. Also sold to the same buyer. This Los Angeles Animal Regulation Animal License Inspector. This was for auction. It didn't sell. And then when I relisted it, it sold right away. Gotta love when that happens. So $7.99, and I did do the $4 ship on this one because this is not really valuable. It's kind of, I want to say, a little on the rare side, so I want to make sure this gets to the buyer. And actually, it was on the other Norwegian cruise line security. I had gotten a message about, is the shipping for $4 correct because everything else is $1. I just got that message. I responded to it right before I hopped on, saying yes. Some of the more valuable, rare patches, I won't do the first class ship because I want to make sure it actually gets to the buyer. Next, Washington State Police. I got 3 of them. Just sold the one for $6.99. This Bergenfield, New Jersey Police hat patch for $7.99. Just listed that as well. And then the next final thing is this Plattsburgh Police at $6.99. And I have a bunch of these Plattsburgh ones. They're not great sellers, but this one luckily sold. So that is everything that I sold over the weekend and over the last week. Like I said, best weekend I've probably ever had. Definitely best weekend for this year. With, about 35 things for about 350-ish bucks. So, this week I'll continue to work on the pallet stuff, getting it photographed and listed, so you'll probably see some of that sell for this week. Whatever I can get listed, I'm sure some of it will sell right away, and some of it will probably be long-term that I'll be sitting on. And there's some other stuff, like some fabrics and like soft stuff that I don't really want to deal with, but I'll probably eventually get to them as well. And then there's a couple things that are in like a bin for that could be like yard sale or donated, or I just don't really want to deal with them, / they're not that valuable. So that is it. I've talked long enough, and I will see you next week.